Right, a look at news affecting our continent in this half hour. Mozambique has fired its head of intelligence and army chief of staff. It comes just 2 weeks after 16 people, including 2 police officers, were killed in attacks in the northern Indian Ocean port of Mocimboa da Praia. The motive for the attacks not clear. Local media reported that the attack was carried out by Islamists, but the government has not confirmed that. According to the reports, a group of about 30 men attacked 3 police stations in the small coastal town in the north, about 30 kilometers from the Tanzanian border. All right, what does this mean for Mozambique? What does it mean for us? Joining us in studio is Isaac Como, a senior producer with Channel Africa. Thank you for being with us, Isaac. So let's start with the original attack. So government hasn't confirmed, but we have a group apparently calling itself Al-Shabaab, exactly like the militants in Somalia. And this is unusual for Mozambique. What's going on?
Well, what's going on, there's a group, an Islamist group that call themselves Al-Shabaab, and the fighters do have contacts with Al-Shabaab because as it is, the attack which took place 2 weeks ago, it was, I think, the 3rd attack. The first attack took place on somewhere on the 5th of October. Yeah, and people say that those people talk in Swahili, which is a language that's spoken there, and then they're also speaking Somali. Sure. Now, those guys, they do have some connections with Al-Shabaab, as they claim.
How serious is this, that Al-Shabaab, that we usually associate with East Africa, is moving this far south?
Well, Al-Shabaab has had many contacts in Eastern and Southern Africa. Well, you should know that Al-Shabaab basically is an offshoot of the Salafists. I'm not saying that it's a Salafist group, but it's an offshoot. They all are Al-Shabaab, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. Now, you find that within Al-Shabaab, there have been fighters who were recruited or who joined Al-Shabaab, who originate from Kenya, who also originated from Burundi, some originated from Uganda, some originated from Tanzania, Zambia, some originated from northern Mozambique, some originated from Malawi, and a few from South Africa.
So you are worried about operations here in South Africa? Well,
Al-Shabaab is all over. That's why I said it's in southern, central, and eastern Africa. Yeah, they've got fighters. They had fighters in Mozambique. And again, you should imagine that Al-Shabaab is not just a matter of having fighters. It's a network. And one of the biggest networks which goes beyond having fighters is the economic network. So Al-Shabaab is self-sufficient in funding, and they have their network all over. Now, one of the biggest economic center is South Africa. So a lot of money that gets out of South Africa monthly going to Somalia to fund Al-Shabaab activity. I mean, we had the so-called White Widow who was here. Yeah, she was an Al-Shabaab operative, and she even had a house here. Yeah.
So this would concern many people. We've had no attacks. Is that danger far off, or is it coming closer, given that we're seeing attacks killing 16 people in Mozambique?
Well, I don't know about attacks, but I mean to say that Al-Shabaab, when they operate, they actually have their areas. They've got their operational areas, and their operational areas are areas where they've got a majority or they've got a very strong Islamic sort of setup. Yeah, South Africa is a place where they've got a minority of Islamic setup. Yeah, so when they come to attack, I don't think they would actually do that. But it's more important to them as an economic base and also as a medical base for recuperation. Many Al-Shabaab fighters and commanders, they're in South Africa. They come to South Africa, they get new identities, and they've been treated in hospitals without people knowing. In fact, they're here. Let me not just say it like that. I mean, if you go to the underground and put your clothes, you'll hear a lot of things. Not that I'm there, but I mean to say, just hear things.
Not good news for South Africa. But in terms of Mozambique, so we've already had a lot of ructions politically, Renamo, Frelimo. So this is a whole new group. What does it mean for security in Mozambique, and how has government responded thus far?
Well, I don't know if it's a new thing. It's not even a new occurrence. I mean to say that they've got a very big UNHCR refugee camp in northern Mozambique, in Nampula. Now that camp of Nampula, over 3/4 of the people there are Al-Shabaab operatives.
So these reports that this is the first Islamist attack are not true. This is a bubbling
No, it's an attack.
threat.
We'll come to the attack. But let's talk about the presence first. The presence of Al-Shabaab in Mozambique has been known for a very long time, for over 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah? And Nampula camp is actually operates housing, over half of the people there, they've got Al-Shabaab connection. They're not the Al-Shabaab people. They've got Al-Shabaab connection. They come from southern Somalia. They've got a presence in Malawi. In fact, they've got very big businesses in Malawi. And they've been having those businesses for the last, I think, 10 years. Yeah? They've got businesses again in Lubumbashi. That's one of their major.
Is this the first major attack?
So that's an attack, yeah. Now, when it comes to attack, you find that northern Mozambique is predominantly, there's a majority of Muslims. And now there are issues in developmental issues. Yeah, and you find that the areas where the attack took place, it comes from a province that has got one of the biggest gas reserves on the African continent. So now you find that they're actually making a presence. But before Al-Shabaab or any Salafist group, any sort of group takes over, the first thing that they do, they take over the mosques through the clergies. You know, the Islam which is being practiced in East Africa and also in Somalia, right up to Egypt, is the Qadiriya Islam. The Al-Shabaabs are the Salafiyya or Wahhabiyya Islam. But now the thing that is taking place due to financing from Saudi Arabia, these people are actually coming there, getting in preachers, and they're taking over the mosque, and the people are starting with the Salafiyya sort of sermons. And after that, it's when they've actually established themselves, that's when the attacks take place. So basically, people should have anticipated it with the radicalization of the form of Islam that's taken place.
So it doesn't bode well for security in Mozambique. Would you say that the news we've received today, that the head of intelligence and the army chief of staff fired is linked?
Yeah, it deals with that directly. I mean, so the only way that you can fight against a group like Al-Shabaab is through intelligence. And if the guys could do what they did and attack police stations, it shows that the national intelligence... So
there's signs of major incompetence.
No, the national intelligence is incompetent. They not have their ear on the ground. Yeah. So it is just that. I mean, you've got to have your ear on the ground. As it is in Tanzania. Tanzania, they've got their fingers on the ground and they've got their ears on the ground. In fact, in Tanzania, all Salafist mosques have been infiltrated by the security services. Even the radical universities, which have got Salafist funding, they've got boys who go there as students, but they actually belong to the intelligence thing here. But that thing there, I think it was not happening in Mozambique.
All right, thank you so much for your analysis tonight. Isaac Komo, a senior producer for Channel Africa.